Everybody can really relate to what you're talking about. And some of the stuff you were saying the other day, I was like, that is so regular, you know? So a lot of times the misconceptions about eating healthy, is bland and boring, and we're going to make sure that those really don't do get those out of the way with you guys. Cool?
I'm cool with it, 100% down.
Monica, tell them a little bit about your approach to health and wellness.
Well, I'm a clinical herbalist and nutrition consultant. So a lot of what I do with my clients when it comes to food is not just calorie counting, how many calories, how many fats, it's a mindful approach to eating and kind of looking at yourself and why you're motivated to choose the choices that you are choosing and what actually feels good in your body. A lot of times when people are abusing food or, or not happy with their weight, they're not exactly really tuning into what it is that their body really wants. It's just kind of more like, I'm just grabbing and grabbing. There's a disconnect between the mind and your digestion and what's going on there. So I definitely try to bring that into one. And usually when it's into one, you make better choices and you're not overeating, you're not undereating, and you're actually eating good quality foods because that's what feels better in your body than, for example, a Big Mac. And a Big Mac tastes good if you eat it really fast, but if you are mindful and present and eat it slowly, you'll probably discover that it's kind of gross. You wouldn't really even want that. So I try to cultivate mindfulness, awareness, encourage whole foods, so people are eating good quality foods, which are going to be satiating, opposed to, eating 3 Big Macs, which even I can do, because it's not real food. So it doesn't fill you, so you overdo it. So I kind of look at it in that approach with less technical number crunching, even though I'm aware that it's
No, seriously, I think, and her approach is fantastic. It's the same thing we do. And I think it's very important to say that if we just simply took a calorie approach with you guys, you would lose weight. You definitely would. But that's not the approach that we want to take.
That's the short term. That's the short term versus a whole lifetime change. Lifestyle change.
Counting calories and
it's not fun.
Checking portion sizes, but if you kind of connect with your mind and your body, then you know that this is a reasonable size, and there's a little instruction that's needed as part of that. So you don't really know that it's like a deck of cards is a serving size.
I don't know if it's genetic or not. I couldn't tell you. I know my mother's not a big lady, but my sister is. My sister's big like I am. My brother's not. So I don't know how much is inherited and what isn't. But if it is, I'd at least like to show them the habit. So if it is inherited, they can work themselves around it. I would hate for them to, I don't know, as ugly as I don't want them to be big. That's a whole different dichotomy walking around. So I'm not going to deal with that. I've always been a snack person. Tons of chips and Rolos destroy me. Doritos, I promise you.
They still make Rolos?
Bro, let me tell you something. I promise you. And I say
find
this,
them.
I will say this with the most extreme honesty. I know for a fact, if I could count up how many Doritos bags up with Doritos, I know you guys think I'm exaggerating. I promise you, I've donated at least $25,000 to the Dorito Corporation in my life. I'm not even exaggerating. I promise you. If the bag is 99 cents, and the bag, plus Doritos don't even taste the same. And if, you know what? Okay, let me throw a theory at you guys. I know there's a theory of diminishing value. The theory is you have something the first time, it's great. You have it the second time, consecutively, it loses some of the value of why it tastes good. Like if somebody put 3 cheeseburgers in front of you. That first one, because you're starving, is delicious. The second one is still good because you're being greedy. The third one just doesn't hold the way the first 2 are. Me and Doritos, it tastes the same. I promise you the original recipe of Doritos is nowhere near what it was when I was in the 5th grade, but I still like it. I can eat Doritos as a whole food group to itself. I fell in love with them, and I need to really fall out of love.
Smaller portions, more frequently throughout the day. And then of course, exactly what you are consuming is right up there as well. But I would say that you would never want to have any one macronutrient by itself. So you would never want to have something just carbs, or just protein, or just fat. Like grapes is just all carbs. There's no protein in there, there's no fat either. So a lot of times people say, oh, that's great. But what happens, even fructose, sugar in the absence of fiber, turns into fat. You know, so you consume all those grapes at one time, man, if your body's not doing anything, guess what? You know, so yeah, so that's a perfect example of a healthy food going wrong. But that doesn't mean that's the worst thing for you to have. There's worse options. You know?
Add to the grapes.
Yeah. Like, or some kind of small nuts. That's why people use,
Multi-grain bread.
yeah, breads. People use, you ever heard of people eating bananas and peanut butter? Yeah. I never know that was a really good thing, but what happens is the peanut butter slows the absorption down of the bananas in your body, so it's giving you a steady flow of energy in your body throughout the day, versus you getting all that sugar in at one time. And then you get the highs and the lows, or we call it the Chinese food effect. You know, it goes high and then you go, because Chinese food, you know, is loaded with a bunch of rice and not a lot of protein.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
So, but that being said, man, that's not bad. There's no food that's inherently bad for you. I mean, with the exception maybe like macadamia nuts, which got so much fat in it, it's ridiculous. But there's no food that's inherently bad. That's why I said with this, we just want to make sure, you know, we're taking what you're eating now, you know, and just making sure the portion sizes are right and you're having, you know, eating frequent meals.
You know, and my wife can attest to this, I considered the surgery. I didn't want to. I remember the first time the surgery thing popped up, I clearly didn't want to do it. I'm not doing that. I have a friend. She's a friend. I have a friend, and she had the surgery, and she told me how horrible it was. And it was successful for her. She was a very big woman, and she lost all of it. She lost, I want to say, whatever. I mean, to this day, she's probably gained maybe 20 of it back, but she lost well over 150, 180 pounds. But she talked about how horrible it was. Like, I'm not going to lie, I'm a success story, but I was vomiting, I was constantly to the doctor, and the whole nine. So I never contemplated a bypass surgery, but I did contemplate the lap band last year. In fact, I went to a doctor to see about it. And my plan was originally like, okay, they had an option where you can do their diet and also do their lap band. But you had to do the diet anyway, because you can't just go, hey, I want a lap band, and they give you one. You got to go through like a 6 or 7 month process of trying to lose weight. It's almost like they do the lap band thing as like, this is the last option type of thing. So I considered it, but with Coach T helping me out over the past, like I said, November, it hasn't crossed my mind again. I don't want a lap band. I want to see if I can do it by myself.
That black women are, you know, for the most part, the head of the household. No matter what we say, you know, at the end of the day,
Truth be told,
they make it. Yeah, truth be told, no matter what you say, guys, they run it. But especially as far as, you know, culturally, you know, ain't too many black men behind the stove doing stuff. So I mean, when we are finished, you know, this transformation, you know, we want to make sure that we've instilled the habits that's going to, you know, take to be successful.
I met my wife at DC Live. We exchanged numbers, but I went to Jamaica the next day. I forgot her.
Well, I'll be honest, man, the tape measure's not going to stretch that far.
6 more reps. 5 more, brother.
You like my Murder Inc? This is Irv Gotti pre-trial. Everything was jumping off. Ja Rule was on fire. 50 Cent is still laid up in the hospital, shot up. This is where it all goes down now.